Welcome back. The political war in the state of Tamil Nadu over tainted Minister Senthil Balaji has reached to a whole new level. Hours after removing Senthil Balaji from the Council of Ministers, Governor R N Ravi put his decision in abeyance and decided to seek the Attorney General advice on the matter. In a letter to MK Stalin, the governor said that he's been advised by the Union Minister of Home Affairs to seek the opinion of the Attorney General. Chief Minister MK Stalin has launched an all-out attack on the governor. The Chief Minister wrote back saying that the governor does not have the power to dismiss a minister. DMK allies too are up in arms, targeting the centre for misusing the office and position of governor. BJP says that the governor has every right to dismiss because he appointed the ministers and there's a moral duty. Hence, it is morally and constitutionally right if the governor decided to intervene into the decision. That's our focus on Brass Tacks tonight.
Sought the opinion of the Home Ministry, or whether Home Ministry had instructed him or he sought the opinion of the Home Ministry, we must know. If he had sought the opinion of the Home Ministry, then he is a misfit to be a governor.
ये तो मैं कंडम करता हूँ। डीएमके को सताने के लिए, स्टालिन के गवर्नमेंट को डिस्टेबलाइज करने के लिए ये पूरी कोशिश चल रही है।
The whole of Tamil Nadu knows Mr. Senthil Balaji is a corrupt minister. It is the bounden duty of Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu to keep his cabinet neat and clean, which is not doing it.
We've been saying that Mr. Stalin is the most incompetent CM Tamil Nadu has ever witnessed, and his actions are proving the same.
All right, joining us on the broadcast is a very special guest. We have the former IPS officer and ex-Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Kiran Bedi, joining us on the broadcast. Ma'am, good evening. Thank you so much for speaking with us. My first question to you is about the move of Tamil Nadu governor and the constitutionality of it. Various critics argue that the governor had no right to interfere in the manner without the aid and advice of the Chief Minister.
I'm asking you, what does he do? What does the chief governor of a state do if he has a minister with criminal allegations taken up by the ED, arrested, and the chief minister does not dismiss him or not even dismiss him? What does this governor do? Continue to be an onlooker? Continue to be a bystander when he's also under the oath to protect the integrity and sovereignty and have the law, all matters under the law in the state, and he's the first citizen of the country. Isn't he responsible? So are you only on the legalities, which legalities I do concede will be decided by the Attorney General and the courts of the day. But the question is there any moral or ethical authority for a minister under criminal allegations to continue to be in the government and draw salaries from it, and the chief minister not even suspending him, the party of the concern not even removing him from the scene?
Right.
What does a governor do? Are you only on the legal aspect? Whether he was bound by the aid and advice, let the courts decide, and they will. Attorney General will decide. But the question is, actually, what is important for you and me as a citizen of this country is when you have obviously a corrupt minister under these allegations, and he continues to be in the government. The point is, why are we treating two kinds of public officials differently? Isn't he a public official? And isn't appointed a public official? Why do we deal with an appointed public official differently? And why do we deal with an elected public official differently? Are they not both public officials?
Well, ma'am, that argument has been made multiple times, but the law as it stands is that he is not at par, say, with an IAS officer or an IPS officer if they were accused of a similar offence. The law has not taken that position, neither has the Supreme Court of India. But I get the larger point around the constitutional morality that you're making. There's the other side of the argument to that as well, that the office of the governor has been misused by various central governments in the past as well. During the 60s and the 70s, it was the Congress party. And now similar allegations are being put on the ruling BJP that they're using the office of the governor to destabilize governments in the opposition ruled states. How do you tackle that argument?
Why don't we say use? You are saying misuse. I would say why not use? The point is, do you want to say that means he's used his power? He has stood up as a custodian at the moment of the custody. He may. I'm not legally deciding this case because I'm nobody in that. That the Attorney General and the courts will. But the question is, he's exercised his moral authority. He's refused to be a bystander, and he's worked as a custodian. Now, whether the courts respect it, public opinion respects it or not, I don't know. But if this is what he has done, he's answered his own conscience, that he's refused to be an onlooker to going on. He has refused to accept the fact that the chief minister refused to even suspend him. Party even refused to remove him and continue to be a minister in the government, when a minister has more power than an ordinary civil servant. And ordinary civil servant in this case would have been suspended and taken to the coals, whereas this man continues to be a minister. I think this is the wrong impression which this Indian democracy is sending to the rest of the government. Okay. Is our politician, right, even when they have a criminal allegations, there is no proper framework to deal with them effectively, urgently, and to remove them from the scene and not wait for 5 years to people to not elect them or maybe elect them again because public memory is short.
Well, ma'am, we really hope that lacuna in law is addressed as soon as possible. But the position in law as it stands, most experts argue that the governor would have not taken that action. But the court or the Attorney General's opinion is going to be final on that matter. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Did the governor overstep? And if he did not, if he thought the action was right, why was there a second thought? Why was there a rethink? And why was the decision put in abeyance? Joining us on the broadcast is a panel of guests. Uma Anandan, who's a BJP leader. Kovai Satyan from the AIADMK. Dr. S.S. Hafizullah from the DMK joining us on the broadcast. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Umaji, my first question to you. The governor and the manner in which the governor has acted has invited the ire not just of the DMK but various legal experts as well. There is no precedent in independent India where a governor has taken a decision to dismiss a minister. You can dismiss governments if the president or the centre advises you to do so under special emergency provisions of the constitution. But the dismissal of a minister can only happen on the aid and advice of the chief minister. Did the governor overstep? Umaji.
I'm sorry, I would like to stress on three things on this. First, the same present chief minister who is now protecting the sinner turned saint because he has jumped fence to their party. The same chief minister had spoken publicly to say that he should be dismissed when the same chief minister today was a complainant. The law doesn't change because he has switched over side. Second, the observation. The Supreme Court observation in 1971 when the then Chief Minister Karunanidhi was accused of, in the Punjab scam of about 4 to 5 lakhs, a constitutional bench decreed that the governor has every right to stop him. So the 1971 verdict is still there. They have to follow that. I don't know. I am not a legal person. Still it is there. And Mrs. Bedi, as she correctly said, the observation, why do chiefs sometimes, when a case comes to a judge, why do they recuse themselves? There is no rule or anything, written rule or anything. Their moral conscience makes them say that they will like to recuse from such cases where they feel it is not right for them to sit. And fourth, why should our public money be paid to a minister who is accused, who is in custody? Why should a taxpayer's money be wasted on a minister who is sitting there inside the jail? So if this person says that the governor has overreached, is that the governor not a constitutional authority? Why should they stress on constitution?
Ma'am, before I take in a response from the DMK. Right. Before I take in a response from the DMK, can you tell me one example in the history history of independent India. And I'm not trying to defend anybody who is accused of very serious charges. And an investigation by the Enforcement Directorate is underway by the orders of the Supreme Court. He's accused right now who's facing trial. I'm on the legality of the governor's action. Is the action legal? Is the action warranted in law? Is there any precedent under which the governor could have acted?
See, why talk about precedents when I have quoted about the Supreme Court 1971 verdict?
Ma'am, I can quote you 5 more verdicts, but that will not be decisive. I can quote you 5 more verdicts in which the Supreme Court has said that the governor does not have the power, including Nabam Rabia. Yes.
Why are you stressing on this thing? When we take office, when I as a councillor takes office, I take an oath of office. Am I not supposed to be true to the word that the oath I'm taking on?
Okay. Dr. Hafizullah, this is the same man, the man who you wanted to retain as the minister, whose actions were called out by none other than the present Chief Minister, Mr. Stalin, when you were in opposition. He was called corrupt by your party and now he's jumped sides. Why is your party trying to protect a man of this nature? Dr. Hafizullah.
See, before coming to this point, I want to just clarify to Ms. Uma Anandan that 1971 was an older judgment, and in 1974, Punjab is a Shamsher Singh judgment. It's a larger bench, it's a larger constitutional bench which says governor has no role over the elected authority, that is the chief minister and the state government of the day. Madam, for your understanding in the law, the oldest is not the norm, the newest is the norm. Until the Perarivalan judgment, Supreme Court has told governor has to listen to the state government. There is the story. That is the legal point to this case. Coming to this point, we are ready for the minister to face legal action for the investigation. It is under Jayalalitha's government that Senthil Balaji was a minister and this issue came up. We are not defending that it is for the minister to face the legal framework. There is no point. But the point is the vendetta politics. See, in an unprecedented move, the governor is hastily, even from all the central agencies, when the court is pending in the cases, the bail petition or the habeas corpus petition is in the High Court, the Attorney General is going to Supreme Court to take the custody for a person who is in the hospital for an open heart surgery. This urgency shows that there is a political intention to destabilize the DMK. So this is why we have to stand behind our minister, who is being used as a political pawn for the well and wishes of the BJP and the political master. Second point, as you said, if the governor has a moral authority, why did he go back? Where did the morals go now? If his moral authority
that's a question I wanted you to go. One second. I'll come back to you, Umaji. I'll come back to you. I have to bring in the other guests also into the discussion. Can I have Mr. Kovai Satyan, please? Mr. Kovai Satyan, the fact that the governor put his decision in abeyance and had a second thought about it and then decided to seek the views of Attorney General, does it show that somewhere the governor or his office had a realization that they stepped out of the line? Should it be taken as an indirect admission of guilt of some sort? Mr. Kovai Satyan.
The right person to answer this question is the governor or the governor's office.
but you're also a stakeholder in politics of the state, and that's why I asked you that question, sir.
Yes. But to answer, let's narrate the entire scenario for the benefit of viewers. It is not the first intimation of governor stating that Senthil Balaji is dismissed. There is a series of events which transpired, and the failure and incompetence of MK Stalin and his government is leading to this judicial fiasco. Governor sends an intimation and advice to the CM stating that Senthil Balaji cannot continue as a minister on moral turpitude, citing the observations of Supreme Court on the criminal case pending against him, which is reaching its finality in a week's time, saying that he has a habit of abusing his ministerial position and arm twisting the accused to his favor, and he cannot continue. And the response from the CM is, after his Senthil Balaji's arrest is, the portfolio of his ministership is being given to 2 people, and Senthil Balaji will continue as a minister on health grounds. Mr. Stalin intentionally hid the arrest by ED.
But sir, you have not given me your view on what you think of the governor's action.
Yes, nor he has conveniently ignored the advice of the governor, and he intentionally hides the arrest from the governors in his response letter. And governor asked him the status quo of the scenarios, in which Stalin is replying, saying that Senthil Balaji will continue and they go.
Sorry,
go
sir,
on
I have to cut you short because I have paucity of time. You're saying that the governor was right in his actions.
Every occasion, the governor is recording the actions and responses of the government. So this is leading to this scenario. Governor,
no, but you've not answered my question, Dr. Hafizullah. I think the question to the DMK is 1 second. Dr. Hafizullah, the question largely is on the morality of the DMK. I mean, this is a tainted minister. There are very serious charges against him. And if the governor may have overstepped legally, but it directly puts questions of morality on the government of the day, on the ruling government of the day in the state of Tamil Nadu. Dr. Hafizullah, please.
Morality and the classes of morality today should look back. How many ministers with DVAC cases and CBI cases were pending in your cabinet in the last regime? Did you resign? Did you come out? No. Did the governor instruct you to resign? So this is the point. And even today in the Union Ministry
either you give me time or you continue the debate with the other two panelists.
Mr. Satyan, I gave you more than 2 minutes to make your point. You cannot tell me I have not given you the time. I allot time equally to all my guests. And in the time that I allotted to you, you did not make your point. I'll come back to you. Let DMK make their point.
Unless you narrate what happened, your viewers will not know.
All right.
It is the
sir,
same MK Stalin
I'll come back to you. It's a discussion. It's a TV debate. I'll come back to you. Can I have Dr. Hafizullah and then I'll go to the BJP and to the AIADMK as well. Dr. Hafizullah, 30 seconds to you.
No, that is what I'm telling you. If the morality is the issue, then what happened with the last regime where people like Vijay Bhaskar had cases, people like Velumani had cases? Did the ADMK make them resign, or the governor insisted them to resign because they have having a cases pending against them? Because they were in alliance with the BJP.
Umaji, this is a question on all political parties. I believe there is no political party today, including the BJP, which can say that we do not have a tainted leader. There are different leaders across different states which may have serious criminal charges pending against them. They might even be questioned or interrogated. Does that give authority to the governors to interfere with the working of the government or to sack a minister?
That is what
let BJP respond. Let BJP respond. Umaji, please. Yes.
See, two things I would like to say. First, the cash for job scam, which the CCB-DC is supposed to finish and give the report in the next 15 days. But this man sitting in the power and even the police officers have not taken kindly to this. When a man can misuse his position, which the governor has stated in his letter, how is justice meted out to the complainants then? He holds an office, he's a minister without portfolio, and the case has to be closed as per Supreme Court directive in the next 15 days. And they are not being allowed to do their job, the officials, the inquiring police officers. What do you make out for that? And the same gentleman who says they raided Vijay Bhaskar, and these people sitting on the other side of fence demanded his resignation with the same governor. At that time, they said, let the governor use his authority. So the governor has an authority then. When it is the saint turned sinner, and the sinner turned saint, when they come to him, the governor does not have the authority. What is the logic behind this?
Umaji, I asked you a question. Umaji, I have a question for you. My question to you is, Umaji, my question to you is that there are a lot of leaders within all political parties, including the BJP, with serious charges pending against them. Should the governors of those states also exercise their powers and dismiss these ministers?
Madam, please understand, there can always be a beginning and he is in custody. Just show me one instance where enforcement direct, job for cash scam, in all probability the amount, hawala scam, everything. The inquiry is going on. With all this, do you think when Mr. Lalu Prasad resigned and handed over, why is Mr. Stalin not thinking of that? He is allied with the same man.
All right. I have to go back. I have to go back to Mr. Koval Satyan as well. Mr. Satyan, I'll reiterate the same question. When your party was in power in the state, there were very serious charges of corruption against your top leaders. That was a high-profile investigation that went there. The case also went to the Supreme Court. At no point did the governor's office interfere and sack the chief minister or any council of ministers just because there was a serious investigation against you by the CBI.
While they were holding the ministerial bed, they were not arrested. An inquiry was not pending. That's the difference. It is the same MK Stalin which went and gave a memorandum to governor to step in and sack those ministers. Now Stalin is making a U-turn. Governor doesn't have the power to dismiss That's very clear and everybody knows it.
Okay.
And what led to this decision is what matters more. The incompetence of MK Stalin. I have narrated the same for the benefit of the viewers.
Where is
That's very
incompetence
easy
in
to
this?
Mr. Hafizullah, I'll come to you. Let him finish his point. I'll come.
MK Stalin, having taken oath that he will abide by the law and protect the constitutional, failed to discharge his constitutional duties. Having failed so, it is governor who steps in to discharge his duty. That's what led to this judicial fiasco. And there are arguments and there are precedent earlier when from the governor side, Rajbhavan, they cite all those. The Karnataka versus Union of India case in 1970, and there are many. And from the DMK side, they will say governor doesn't have the right. But what led to this scenario is the failure of MK Stalin incompetence.
Well, I'm sure the DMK has a response to that. But I believe if the government is incompetent, that does not give right to the governor to overstep. All right, one at a time. Mr. Kovai Satyan, you've made your point. Mr. Hafizullah, please rebut. Go ahead.
The governor is behaving unconstitutionally, unilaterally. Satyan says that he does not have the power to withdraw, but the governor is constitutionally saying because he doesn't want Senthil Balaji to continue as a minister.
One at a time. Mr. Kovai Satyan, I will not allow anybody to interrupt you.
We will not go down. We are not ADMK, sir. We will uphold the right of the state. We will uphold the right of the democracy. He is an elected MLA. So we know we are the elected government. We know who to be the minister, who not to be the minister. I understand if there is a conviction, all your points are valid. There is no conviction. There is still a charge sheet, still a trial going on. He is not corrupt until and unless he is proved. So let's not call this corruption which is not proved. This is an alleged corruption where...
Well, Mr. Hafizullah, I agree with you till the point where you say that constitutionally the governor did not have it right, and I say this on the basis of the judgments of the Supreme Court and how the constitutional position stands. But as far as this minister is concerned, the same Supreme Court has given some very stringent and very tough observations about the conduct of the minister and the fact that there was some kind of admission of guilt from his side when he tried to settle the matter. One should not forget that.
He himself admitted.
I said that. As I wrap up the debate, Umaji, I have a final question for you. Is the office of the governor being misused by the central government for political purposes? 1 minute to you and 1 minute to Mr. Kovai Satyan as well. Umaji, go ahead.
Definitely not. The Congress and its allies have to rethink. During Indira Gandhi's time and all, 39 times they've used. While BJP has used it only twice. So let them not sermonize. The governor's office, whether he has the power, when DMK is in the opposition, he does not have the power when they come to power. When they are the ruling party, the governor has no power.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
So
That's all the time that I have right now on the broadcast. Mr. Kovai Satyan, Uma Anandan and Dr. Hafizullah, thank you all for joining us on the broadcast. Well, the two-step back by the governor's office is a clear indication that there was an afterthought after that sacking of the minister was done, and the view of Attorney General is being sought yet another round of confrontation between these two constitutional officers of the government and the governor in the state of Tamil Nadu. Well, as we wrap this debate, here's another special report for you. France, it remains on the edge after widespread protest over killing of teen boy. French president has announced that more police will be deployed to control the riots. He further blamed video games that have intoxicated the rioters. Take a look at the special report.
Unrest erupted again on Thursday in France, marking the third day of clashes over the deadly police shooting of a teenager. In Nanterre, where the incident took place, cars were set on fire, and protesters set up road barricades, hurling projectiles at lines of police. Riot police fired back with tear gas. Earlier in the day, there had been a largely peaceful march for the victim, identified as 17-year-old Nael of North African descent. He was shot dead during a traffic stop, and public anger over the incident led to riots across France this week. The teenager's mother chanted "Justice for Nael" with other supporters in the march. Karima Katem, a local councillor in Blanc-Mesnel, northeast of Paris, says people's patience is running thin.
I think we owe this today to Nael. There have already been so many like him before, and we don't want any more. By killing Nael, they killed our child.
Earlier, President Emmanuel Macron held a crisis meeting with senior ministers over the shooting and condemned the unrest. Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin said 40,000 police officers would be deployed across the country on Thursday. That's nearly 4 times the numbers mobilized the previous day. A video shared on social media, verified by Reuters, shows 2 police officers beside a Mercedes AMG car, with one shooting at the teenage driver at close range as he pulled away. He died shortly afterwards from his wounds. A non-terror prosecutor said the officer involved had been put under formal investigation for voluntary homicide. The officer has acknowledged firing a lethal shot, the prosecutors added, telling investigators he wanted to prevent a car chase after the teenager allegedly committed several traffic violations. The incident has fed long-standing complaints of police violence and systemic racism inside law enforcement agencies from rights groups and within the low-income, racially mixed suburbs across the country. Authorities deny the accusations.